Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday and time for our weekly wellness Zoom. It's kind of what I've termed it. Miracles happen. My name is Catherine Clement, and this is a new Zoom. This is only the second one that we've done, and so we don't have a lot of participants yet, but that's okay. I am totally cool with that. We're just going to keep rolling anyway because these are being recorded, and any information that's provided could help someone. And that's really the reason why I decided to start doing this, is because I have a condition that is very, very painful. And we've had quite a few people commit suicide because of the levels of pain. And I'm part of an art activist group called Project Angel. We've been trying to get the medical establishment to start teaching about these conditions in medical school so that people aren't facing the issues that they're facing by themselves. We go to doctors. I was misdiagnosed for 4 years, and then it took a year to get into the surgery that I needed. So that was 5 years of complete nerve entrapment that caused some long-term issues. I'm healing because miracles happen, but I'm just trying to get the word out about some of these conditions. If you have something going on in your life and the doctors don't know what to do, I mean, literally for 4 years I was told I was crazy, I was making things up, I was just lying. None of my doctors offered to help me. They didn't say, I don't know what's wrong with you, but let me help you find someone that does. And those are the words that I needed to hear, because I didn't feel like I had the wherewithal to search for that on my own. As it turned out, I did, and I self-diagnosed online, found a doctor that could do the surgery. But I do need to say, I'm not a doctor. This is just an open public community, and I don't vet people before they come on here. So if someone comes on and says they have a product and it helps such and such, you have to take that and do your own research. Anything that we talk about on here, I'm not a doctor. I can't prescribe things. I was a registered nurse for 20 years, and I've worked in Western medicine along with Eastern medicine, naturopathy, homeopathics, herbs, and of course diet. Diet is extremely important part of wellness. So I do have a ton of information in this head, and I also know a lot of people who also have a lot of information, amazing healers. I'm also an energy healer. I just know so many people with so many good products and things. I don't have any nutritional products or anything like that, but if anybody out there watching this has something that helps somebody, please jump on and share it with us. We're also isolated in our own homes, but we have this amazing thing called the internet. And this is literally how I diagnosed myself. And if I hadn't, I would have not be here today, because I, much like my friend who killed herself last week, was very, very close to suicide. And by the grace of God, I'm here, and I find I've experienced so many miracles in my own life. I know that they happen, and I need to give people that hope, because Judith lost her hope. It's not just dealing with the pain. You have to deal with the medical practitioners that don't understand. And then even if you find one that understands, you're dealing with all the insurance issues and stuff. I was a nurse for 20 years, fell off a horse, did a bunch of damage, lost my house in less than 3 years with the savings that I had. Bam, that was it. And I live frugally, believe me. So you just never know when something is going to happen that can really knock you sideways, and it can take you completely out for years. But you need to know that you can get back. You can get back. So I'm going to jump over here and check this page and make sure nobody's trying to get on and can't. Actually, let me mute for just a second so I can cough here. Okay, so actually, I'm glad I checked this because this is another friend of Judith who committed suicide last week, and she's talking about her in one of our forums, and I know that this can be shared. Some of the stuff in the forums, of course, I wouldn't share, but I know this can be shared. So she says, this is from Judith's family. When Judith was with us this year, we battled with insurance. Florida, every place I could think of to get her to. Bless Dr. Conway. He would have done surgery free in Boston, but greed was with St. Joseph's. We just can't go handing out her funds. 6 weeks ago, as I begged, how sad when there is no help left, but she trusted God. I know He understood. This illness can't be survived without help. We loved her. So this is sad, and it happens to many people, not just with the condition that I have, which is called pudendal neuralgia. I actually had what they call pudendal nerve entrapment for 5 years before I got my surgery, and then it's no longer called entrapment, but it's called neuralgia. So it's been about 10 years of dealing with this very, very severe pain. I'm in bed probably 90% of the time, a combination of the pain and previous spinal cord injury. But everything works, but I just have a lot of pain, and it doesn't work for very long. So when you see me here, I'm not sitting because I can't sit. I'm kind of leaning back on some pillows, and I'm here in bed, and I just have my turtles here behind me. I've been through this battle with the insurances and doctors that Judith, not the exact same battle that Judith went through, obviously, but I've been through that personally. And when you're dealing with such severe nerve pain that even pharmaceuticals don't help, even intravenous pharmaceuticals don't help, it's really mind numbing and consuming. Like your brain doesn't really work. Somebody could be speaking to you and it would be almost like it was a foreign language or something when the levels get really, really high. And to try to be jumping through insurance hoops and, hospital bills and doctors and tests and most of us lost our income. I was a registered nurse for 20 years, but after the fall, I couldn't work any longer outside of the home. It takes a tremendous amount of time, much more than you would think, to get Social Security disability going, especially if you have something like this, which is sort of an invisible illness. People can't, they see me smiling and they say, well, how could you be in pain? Well, because I've been in this pain for 10 years. And yes, it limits what I can do, but I have to smile anyway. I have to live my life anyway. I may not be able to do everything that I could do before, but I needed to find a way that I could still help people, which is one of the reasons that I'm doing this. And I really hope that as time goes on, and I know I don't have to hope, I know that people are going to start joining in here and having discussions and helping one another, because one of the things that I found being in bed for the last 10 years is that, online friends are really important, and we can be with each other and help each other and support each other, even if we can't leave our own homes. So those of us that are bed-bound or, homebound or semi-homebound, I go out to the grocery store and stuff. This is a great way for us to connect and really mastermind with each other, because I have learned, I've been trying to make some extra money on the side, because as we all know, disability is not really much to live on, and who knows how long it will be there, right? So I've put some money into some commodities where I can I can make money on my commodities without it really affecting my disability, because it's sort of like having rentals. There's a couple of ways that you can make money and still be on disability. One of them's rentals and one of them's commodities. So I've been learning how to do that, and I had never, really been in business for myself before all of this. I was a registered nurse. I just worked long, hard hours, right? But being in business for myself now, sort of, I have really found true power in the mastermind, connecting with other people. You may not have any idea what's going on with you physically. Your doctors may not know, but hopefully we'll get a good crowd of people coming here, and you may be able to describe your symptoms. Somebody could have your miracle, literally. I have found some products in the past that drastically, they were like miracles. Unfortunately, none of them really lasted. One of the companies changed the way they were making the product, which just really changed the way it worked for me, and that was very sad, because that was a really miracle product. And then there was another company that had these amazing products that people were just getting. They were healing from head injuries and MS and all kinds of stuff. And unfortunately, that company went out of business. So the point being, there are companies out there, there are products out there, there are practitioners, modalities, nutrients, diet suggestions. There are so many things that we can mastermind and help each other with, because we just don't, when you're sick, you're ill, you don't have the energy or the strength to really find all these things. Nobody can know about all of these things. For instance, I recently found a doctor in Atlanta, Georgia. For any of you out there that have nerve pain, there's a doctor in Atlanta, Georgia who's doing cryoablation, which is where they freeze the nerve, and it takes the pain away without, bad side effects. So I know that he does it on other nerves besides the pudendals, but he does do pudendal. He didn't want to at first, because they're kind of complicated, but now he is doing those with good success. So perhaps if Judith had known about this procedure and had been able to get insurance to pay for it, she'd still be here with us. She's here with us, but she's out of body now, and it just hurts my heart so bad, because the minute I found out about this procedure and I did some research on it, he's done studies. He's had 100% success pretty much with everybody he's worked with. I think there were a couple of people that had some pain that wasn't helped, but everybody else that has helped tremendously. And so I just can't help but think if she had known of this and been able to go get it, she would still be here with us. So I really want this to be a place where people can come and get help. I don't want you, it's not a place to just moan and groan and bellyache about our symptoms. We definitely need to talk about our symptoms so that we can figure out what's going on. And sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's more mental, sometimes it's more emotional. There are all of these components. All of those components add to any condition, certainly. So I don't think there's any, one cure fits everything. There are so many different components to wellness. There's lifestyle change involved. You have to change your diet. You have to change your exercise or lack thereof. You have to change the way you interact with your body. You have to love your body, no matter what it's showing up as. Because, cancer and conditions, certain conditions, they're really just, really all conditions, they're really just, our body's amazing when it takes cancer and makes a tumor, and collects all that in one place for us. I know sometimes it gets in the lymph system and all of that, but it's really trying to protect us. It's really just screaming for lifestyle change. And yes, I know some people that have really, really clean lifestyles and still, die of cancer. I shouldn't say they die of cancer. Most everybody that I know, including many, many family members, have died of cancer treatment. None of my family members died of cancer. It was the treatment that they received for it. I'm not supportive of chemo, although I have a dear friend who's still alive today because she had it. So, there's a place for everything. Everybody's miracle comes in a different package. And you have to figure out, you have to listen to that small, still voice. You have to listen to God telling you what to do. It'll feel right in your heart when you find it. And although in my disclaimer, I have to say, you should, anything you hear on this, you should definitely run it through your doctor and all that. Depending on your doctor, most doctors are pretty limited in what they know. Most of them only have the knowledge that they got from medical school and then what they've experienced since. So nobody can learn about or experience everything. But a lot of the medical school teachings are really led by like the meat industry, the dairy industry. Doctors get very, very little, I think like one class on nutrition, and it's all propaganda. There's the food triangle, and the way that most people are eating is just ridiculous. It's the things that people put in their bodies. You have to love and respect your body well enough to give yourself good food. And I know some people think that, some people hate vegetables, and some people, they're just used to fast food and processed food. But when you lose your health, oh my goodness, it's so hard to get it back. So I just really encourage everyone to really take advantage of the amazing foods that we've been given on this earth in the form of fruits and vegetables, and leave all that other processed stuff alone. I know it tastes good, and it's really not your fault that you love it, because they put addicting stuff in there. It's like cigarettes or something. They put these additives in there, and some of them are neurotoxic. And you have to be really careful. Matter of fact, that's one thing. I'm glad that word came in there, because you have to be really careful what you put in your body and on your body. This is the last day of May, and May is the month to raise awareness for multiple chemical sensitivity. And I have several friends that have that, and that's becoming more prevalent. I really wanted one of them to come on and speak about it today, but perhaps they will in the future. I think it was a difficult day for them. They suffer tremendously. They react to everything, every fragrance, everything. They have to live very isolated lives. They can't really be around people unless those people are loving and respectful enough to not bathe with, any kind of soap that has a fragrance, or use a shampoo that has a fragrance. All those things would set them off, and make them seriously ill, like hospitalized ill. It's not something It's not something to toy with. And these allergies, I guess I'll call them, these reactions that they have, these just get worse as they're exposed to more and more toxins. And yes, they've done detoxing, and yes, they've done energy work, and yes, they've done all these things. And it's another group of people, much like the lupus group and some of these other groups, fibromyalgia and stuff. All of these conditions really tax people. And they're very complicated to address. You only have a certain amount of energy to be able to do a certain amount of things to help yourself. And there's almost always financial restrictions. There are, as I said before, there are amazing products out in the world, but if you don't have the money to buy them, you can't even try them. So that's kind of why another reason I wanted to do this, to expose people to these different products. And then if we need to brainstorm ways to raise money to try them, we can do that. I know that I'm sure many people will bring on products that are connected to some sort of a business. I'm not going to allow business presentations here per se. If you want to bring a product on, you're welcome to tell us how it works. You're welcome to bring people on with testimonials. That would be even better, and get your stuff out there. Get your product in front of these people. Let them know how it can help them. Bring people that tell them, hey, this was what was going on with me, and now, look at me now. Those are amazing stories. Those are miracles, and we need to hear them because we need hope. We need hope that this pain can end. We need hope that we can get rid of the cancer or whatever it is that you're dealing with, So I encourage you, bring your people, bring your testimonials, tell me about it. Tell me what's in it. I want to know what's in it because I need to know that it's safe to take. I'm going to want to look up everything. If I can't afford it, then, what I have found in my life is that things that I really, really wanted and needed, I found a way to get them. I found something I could sell. I found something I could pawn. I sold, stuff out of my house, whatever. It's part of the healing process. Your willingness to do what it takes to step out in faith and say, okay, I don't know if I have to sit here and make bead bracelets and sell them, so I can raise the money to get whatever it is you need, whatever procedure, whatever supplement or whatnot. Do that. That's part of, in my life, when I have taken that step forward in faith, I have been rewarded with miracles. Honest to God, miracles. I've been through 2 surgeries that could have gone way, way wrong. And I had faith and I had them and they both helped me. And even though I still have restrictions compared to where I was 5 years ago, oh my God, I'm just in so much gratitude every day. And that's another huge piece. You have to be in gratitude. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Thank goodness for mute, huh? You have to be in gratitude for the things that you can do. The way that your body does support you. The way that, you look around you. I live very, 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 I live in a tiny home, and it's not a big fancy tiny home. It's a shed, but it has everything. I'm comfortable. I have a little bit of cold running water coming in, nothing going out, and no like indoor plumbing really, but I don't have to carry water. It's a small space for someone with my temporary restrictions, I'm going to say, because I'm going to be going to that doctor in Atlanta and get fixed. But for somebody that has my restrictions right now, it's a small amount of space that I can handle and take care of. You know, you need to be kind to yourself. You need to step out there. You need to look for your miracle. It's not always just going to come slap you in the face. You know, I'm not just going to come knocking at your door and say, hey, I've got your miracle. You have to look for it. You have to ask for it. You have to quit saying, I can't, and say, how can I? And ask God, ask the universe, whatever you want to call them, I'm going to say. You have to let them know that you're open to a miracle, that you're seeking a miracle. Sometimes we get so focused on healing. And I was just watching a really funny video done by Teal Swan. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's a spiritual healer kind of person. And she just did a video called, I won't say the word, but F with 3 letters after it. F, the law of attraction. Because what she talks about is how in this universe, we kind of get the vibration that we put out comes back to us. Well, if we're traumatized and injured and all of that, we have this vibration, you know, unless we're doing conscious work to raise it higher, we have this vibration that just pulls in more of that. So it's really this cycle that we have to get out of. We really have to start focusing not on our pain, but on those brief moments when we realize, I was distracted just long enough. I didn't feel the pain for those few seconds or few minutes or whatever it is, you know. So we have to kind of rewire our brains into noticing what's good instead of noticing what's bad. You know, noticing the things that we can do. I celebrate everything. I celebrate being able to stand and do the dishes. I don't really have like a sink like most people with running water through it and everything. So I kind of have to pour water over dishes and stuff. And it takes me a little longer, but I can do it, you know. I can go for walks. Some days it could be 20 feet. Some days it could be a lot further. It really just depends on the day. You know, some days I can get out there and do a fairly decent walk. I'm not talking a mile or anything, good God, but you know, I can get out there and walk a little bit, and I try to do that. I push myself. You really have to push yourself to do these things to get your strength. When you're in bed for this long, I mean, all your muscles start to atrophy, and you can get into just this very complicated and negative cascade of health conditions. It can start with one thing, and then you can get acidic, and it can really quickly lead into more and more health conditions. And of course, the worse you feel, the less tempted you are to do things. So it really takes wanting to get well. Wanting to be well, I should say, is probably better wording. It really takes wanting to be well. We can use our conditions and illnesses as an excuse, just like a able-bodied person can use whatever they use for an excuse. You know, we all have our excuses, so we have to make sure that we aren't sorry, my phone's going off. We have to make sure that we aren't using excuses to escape life. You know, some of us, like I'm sort of, even though I'm live here on Zoom, I am an introvert. I do spend a lot of, well, pretty much all my time alone, except for the time I spend with people online. And I'm okay with that. Like I could live in a little cabin way up in the mountains by myself. I've done it actually. I lived in a gypsy wagon up in the mountains. So I love the quiet. I'd never get bored. I never feel lonely, but I'm very fortunate in that aspect. And a lot of people aren't like that. And even though I'm like that, I still realize that community is so important. And I push myself actually uh, to be in community more, to interact with people more in person, not just online too. Um, because I know that too much isolation is not good. I spend a lot of time doing energy work and stuff, so I kind of need that space to be able to work in there. And I do art too, and so I kind of need that space. But coming together with community, being able to mastermind, being able to pick somebody else's brain, there are no accidents. God, spirit, creator, whatever you want to call them, they work in miracles. There's been so many times where I've asked God for help and a miracle has arrived in the form of a product or in the form of a person, that had knowledge. For instance, when I had my spinal cord surgery, I had 2 doctors tell me that I needed disc surgery because I do have bad discs, but that's not what was going on. And I decided to have a neurosurgeon do the disc surgery. So I just went to the phone book and closed my eyes and just, did this. And the doctor that I landed on turned out to be this Eastern Indian doc. 20 years prior, they had studied this birth defect in a research project at his medical school. And he knew that what I had going on was not my disc. It was a birth defect that had never been picked up on, and I was in a wheelchair. He did a surgery, got me out of the wheelchair. So that is a miracle. That is like a super miracle. So I know that, sort of, if you build it, they will come. I know that this Zoom will get more popular as people realize that they can come here and get help. And we can start connecting people and practitioners and procedures and modalities. And, you might just get your toolbox out and start loading it up with things. That's kind of what I've had to do. I have this whole toolbox full of amazing things that help me distract from the pain. I'd love to show you, and I will be sharing with you many of these things. It's really exciting to find new tools, that help people and to share those. Like, I don't have them out right now, but I'll have to, before next week, I'll have to get out my glasses. I have these glasses that I can put on, sort of like sunglasses, and you keep your eyes shut. And on the underside of these glasses, there's these lights, and they go in different patterns, and you can still see them. You keep your eyes shut, but you can still see them, like, just through your eyelids, and you can even see them sort of like a third eye projection. And they sync with music, so they're you have earbuds in and you're listening to the music, you've got your eyes closed, and these light patterns are happening, and it can really take you into another space. I love to use those when I'm overwhelmed with pain and I really just need to block out. And you can put your own music in, but they have quite a few really nice different types of music and programs that you can listen to. One is like you're, in the forest, and maybe soft water bubbling, things like that. Then there's like saxophone, and then there's like outer space ones, and it's really cool. There's so many different programs, and it sort of forces your mind to switch into a different state, like a theta wave. It sort of forces that. So if I'm in super pain and it's just like gnawing in my brain, even though that's not where my pain is, but anybody that suffers from chronic severe pain knows what I'm talking about. If it's gnawing into my brain and I just can't make that switch on my own, I can get out those glasses and put them on. And they're about, I think they were somewhere over $200. At the time, I remember saying, oh my gosh, I can't afford that. And then Spirit kept saying, you should take a look at that. You should figure out a way. You should figure out a way to get that money. And I did. I found a way to get that money. I'm so thankful to have that tool now. Thankful that I have it. Thankful that I know about it so I can share it with other people. And there's just so many other things out there that can help people. So I really hope that this will be a place where practitioners will come and share what they do, and people will come and share what they need. And hopefully we can, hook everybody together and we can all be well and happy. If you lose your health, it can really wear on you. It can age you, I should say, much more quickly, it seems. And it takes a lot of determination and a lot of persistence and a lot of tears to push through some of these things that we have to push ourselves through. I really suggest people get a mentor of some sort, somebody that motivates you. It doesn't matter who it is. Find somebody that really motivates you, somebody that is doing things beyond all odds, somebody that's just, you look at their story and you think, oh my gosh, and I was complaining, one of those kind of situations. Find somebody like that, because one of the things that I found is I heal, or I am more well, I should say, when I'm focused on other people and not on myself. Like one of the products that I found came to me. I had 2 friends that needed my help in another state. I was too unwell to travel. There was no way I could travel. And so I was pretty much begging God to give me something that would help me enough to go help them. And it showed up as a product. I listened to a call at about 3 a.m. one morning when I couldn't sleep because of pain. And I heard about this product, and at first I was like, no, I'm not trying any more products. I'm not doing any business. No. And Spirit kept saying, you need to listen to this. You need to listen. And so I did. I listened and I tried it, and it worked miraculously. That was the one that unfortunately, after about a year, they changed the way they made that product. And I found that it didn't help me like it did before. But I do know one of the actions that that product had was that it decreases cortisol by like 50%. And so if you could find something, a product that decreases your cortisol levels, that's what they call the stress hormone. And so anytime we're stressed out, we're making this cortisol dumping through our bloodstream, and it can really rain havoc on your body. Cortisol, excuse me, they call it the stress hormone and the death hormone, actually, because at the time of death, your cortisol is just through the roof, So it's almost like the higher your cortisol level gets, the closer you are to death. So this is why stress reduction and this whole mind-body holistic approach is so important, because it doesn't matter what you do to heal your body if your mind is just going to make it sick again. It's really taking a look at everything, like how you eat, how you obviously exercise, how you treat your body in the aspect of how many chemicals are you putting on your body every day, what are you asking your body to deal with on a daily basis. Some of you might be dealing with environmental toxins at work. You really need, I know that, there's towns where like that's the only work there is these factories that have these environmentally toxic cesspools, that you're forced to work in. And I know that may be what you think is the only option for you, but I will say now with this internet and these video conferencing and all this technology that we have now, is if you have the internet to watch this right now, you probably have the internet to work to make some money online so that maybe you don't have to work in some of those toxic conditions anymore. There's a lot of things you can do online to bring in money. You just have to, there's a learning curve you got to go through. It's not going to be like instant, but there are things you can do. And if you want to talk more about options like that, I'm glad to talk to you on Facebook. I really, this is not a business Zoom, so I'm not going to talk about those options, but there are many. And so just look me up on Zoom, on Facebook. And on Facebook, if you just type in for the URL, or you can just search KCFB, Catherine Clement Facebook, KCFB dot live dream believe .me. So KCFB dot live, LIVE, dream believe .me. livedreambelieve.me is my website. Let me clear my throat here, excuse me. So, but that address will actually take you to my personal Facebook page, and you can PM me and friend me there, and we can certainly chat there about different options for bringing in money from home. There are agencies even that work with people that are handicapped or disabled. I don't really like either one of those words, but there are agencies where you can do social media work and things like that. So there are options. There are always options. If you can always just ask, be open to possibilities and just ask, how can I do this? Or how can I make this happen? You don't have to have a whole blueprint thrown in your lap to do it. You really just have to step out in faith and ask, how can I do this? And then be willing to follow up with action. A lot of people, they ask how, and they get what's that cartoon where the boat comes by, I don't know how many times to save the person. They're like, oh no, God's going to save me. And, God sent like 8 people down the river to save them so far. And they keep saying, oh no, God's going to save me. When actually he's already tried 8 times. So sometimes it's like that, And sometimes we try stuff, it can get discouraging. It can get frustrating. When you try multiple things and nothing seems to work. It can get really, really frustrating. And days like that, you just have to have, you just have to say, this too shall pass, basically. I know that's really cliche, but nothing lasts forever. I mean, there will come a day when we're all going to be gone. Nothing lasts forever. And that includes, bad days. And if you're having a bad time, try to turn it into a bad moment or a bad 10 minutes or something instead of a whole bad day, because the mind can be your worst enemy. If you think the pain will never end, or you think you'll never find a cure, or You think, you can't go on. You're right. If you think all those things, you're absolutely right. The things that we think change the way that our body reacts to us, to the universe, to our food, to everything. The thoughts that we feel about food changes the way our body responds to them. What was that doctor's name? There was a doctor that did a study with water molecules. The name wants to come, but it's not. So anyway, he took water from different sources and looked at it under this really super duper microscope, and the patterns that were in the water, I think they had to freeze them and then look at them under the microscope, and the patterns that they made, it was like crazy. Like certain he took water out of polluted rivers or whatever, and it was just really ugly and looking under the microscope, and then they took that water and they prayed over it. They had someone pray over the water, and then it looked like these beautiful snowflakes. I mean, it just transformed the water. And if you think and understand and recognize that we're primarily water as beings, that's mostly what we are. Some people say 70-80%, I don't know exact percentage, but we're a lot of water. And so if every one of our thoughts affects every one of our cells the way that experiment showed that they do, oh my goodness, no wonder we're in such a mess, the way some of us have stinking thinking, but see the power in that. See the power of loving yourself, the power of your own words and thoughts and beliefs, especially about yourself and the world, and whether you live in a state of fear or whether you live in a state of faith, because that's really all there is. There's two choices, and I'm not being religious here. I don't go to a church. Nature's my church. I commune with God every day, all day. I don't necessarily need that sermon. But with that being said, there is something to be said about community. And for some people, that's the only community they get. So I highly recommend it if that's all you got, or if that's what you like or enjoy, then get together with people, whether it's in person or online like this, people of like mind. And some people see differences in religion and spirituality, and yeah, there are differences, but there's not one that's better than the other because they all point to the same thing. We just use different words. Some people pray, some people meditate. And yeah, you can meditate without praying, but a lot of people that are meditating are really in a very deep, deep sense of connection with God. So it's like meditation on crack or something, But, you could even say some people would call them spells. Some people call it prayer. Some people call it spells. They're still asking for something to happen. And so I don't care. You can call it whatever you want as long as you're living from your heart, living from kindness and generosity, and doing what you can as a person to help. I mean, I'm the only one on here today, so I'm just going on, and I don't know if what I'm saying is going to help someone, but I'm going on faith that it will. Going on faith that this will grow, and I won't have to sit here and talk to myself the whole time, every time. We have to not be afraid to speak to one another. We have to not be afraid to be real with one another. We're all humans. We're all going through some crazy shit, really. Some people only focus on the positive, and I try to do that. I try to only focus on the positive. That doesn't mean that there isn't some stuff to deal with, and that's what we share as human beings, is that vulnerability, that fragility. Judith surely reminded us all how fragile and fleeting life can be. And she was a strong believer in God. She was a strong warrior. She fought for long and hard against insurance companies and doctors, and I don't think she did it so much out of desperation, just as so much to go meet her maker that she loved and believed in so much. Hope is all we have. Faith is all we have sometimes. And if you lose that, if you just get worn down past the bone and you lose that and you don't have anybody to lean on, it's difficult. You have to lean on somebody. You have to lean on your faith. You have to have a shoulder to lean on. You have to have people to talk to. Even if it's just one person, maybe you want to put on the happy face for the rest of the world, but as long as you have even just one person to actually be real with, and be real with yourself too, because sometimes you can't fix something until you suffer from it. I kind of found that out. I was sort of so proud of myself because, I used to say I'm in pain, but I don't suffer. And what I meant by that is, yes, my body's in pain all the time. And if I wanted to focus on it, I would be suffering horribly. But because I don't focus on it, I don't suffer. I feel the pain. It hurts like hell. It keeps me from doing things. But I keep my mind on my art. I keep my mind on doing things like this to help people. I keep my mind on what can I do to help even though I have these limitations. When I stay focused on that, on other people, then I get through the day easier. And that's not to say that I don't have my own little pity party sometimes. Sometimes you just have a little pity party, and that's okay. Let those tears go. Sometimes we need to express that emotion. We need to get it out, and if we don't, it turns into another illness, because truth be told, probably every illness that we have, we brought it on by some thinking in some way, by not listening to that small, still voice sometimes. I know myself, there were so many times when God talked to me and I either argued or ignored, one or the other. And every time I did that, I wound up in worse place than I was before. So I kind of learned the hard way to listen to that small, still voice and just honor yourself. Honor yourself as the temple, as the piece of God that you are. We're all pieces of God. God's living through us in these bodies, So honor the temple. Honor the temple enough to change your diet. If that's the only thing you can do, even if you can only change it for one meal, one day of the week, start with that. And then, as you see that there are recipes and there are ways of eating that is absolutely delicious without all that processed stuff, then you'll want to add in 2 a week. And then as you see that your energy starts to go up and you're not dragging and you're not falling, going into, we used to call it a food coma. I grew up in the South eating all kinds of Southern food, so I'm very familiar with the food coma. And, on Thanksgiving Day, when an hour after everybody eats, they're like passed out in the recliner. That's when you get those family pictures for blackmail. But you'll see as your energy goes up and you start feeling better, that food tastes pretty good, and if it makes you feel that much better, then maybe it's worth doing 3 meals a week. And pretty soon, before you know it, you can just throw out all that processed crap, and not to say you can't splurge on something once in a while. If you just, have something that you dearly love that's really not all that good, have it once in a while, but don't be thinking, oh, this is so bad for me, I shouldn't be eating it. Don't think of that while you're eating it. Just, tell yourself this is a splurge. This is a present, a gift to me. I'm going to eat this cupcake or whatever it is, and enjoy it and love it and bless it. Bless your food before you eat it. Ask that this food energize and nourish your body. Ask that this food bring wellness to your body. And regardless of what's in it, I'm not saying eat ho-hos every day, you guys, right? But I'm saying once in a while, you could have a piece of pie or something and not feel guilty over it, okay? So we've got just a few minutes left here, and I can't believe that I've been able to just talk on for an hour. I'm really not much of a talker. In fact, that's one of the things my partners have kind of disliked about me, is that I don't talk enough. So I can assure you, stepping out here and talking for an hour has been not a challenge for me, because to me it's like me and a good friend. I just imagine Donna or Sandy or Katie or one of you ladies out there, Dagmar or somebody, Christine. I just Samantha. I could go on and on. I know so many wonderful people, but I just imagine I'm sitting here talking to you over a cup of coffee. That's all. And I hope that we'll have people coming on here and we actually can have our coffees. And I only give myself 1 cup of coffee a day. I actually went off of coffee for quite a long time, months and months and months. And I recently went back, and I'm not sure I should have, but I did. It's one of those splurgy things. So, but only 1 cup a day if I'm going to do it. On the rare occasion, too, but I always pay for that. It's too much caffeine. My body's not used to it. So here we are at the top of the hour, and I just want to say, don't give up hope. Somebody's here to listen. Somebody's here to help. If you've been told by your doctor they can't help you, they don't know what to do, let's talk about it. I may not have the answer. I may not know anything about the condition that you have, but I guarantee you I won't leave you alone with it. I'll help you try to find an answer. I'll help you try to find something that at least helps you have more quality of life. Whether we can cure it or not, who knows? That's up to God. But I will do my best to help you find more quality of life. And if nothing else, you'll know that someone listened and someone cared. So I'll see you guys next week, every Tuesday, here at this same link at 4 p.m. Eastern, or that's 2 p.m. my time, Mountain Time. And please come and talk to me so that I just don't have to sit here and chatter on, all right? I love you guys. Have a wonderful week. Join us in the community. I have a Facebook community going on, and wherever you found this link, I bet you'll find that link as well. So it's called Miracles Happen, Focus on Wellness, if you need to search for it. And come join us there. I'll be sharing all kinds of good health stuff. and love to hear about you and talk to you and get to know you better. All right. Have a great week, you guys. Focus on wellness.